The third issue is whether or not our investments are propping up a repressive government hell-bent on global dominance. This could be true even if the investment were legitimate and offered a good return. And it's also even true even if the investment doesn't directly impact our national security. There's still this third question. If you invest in Chinese companies, will the money be used to oppress people in China through their Orwellian surveillance? Or could it be used to fund their Belt and Road Initiative designed to de-Americanize the world over time? The reality is that as hard as China has been working to replace the American dollar, the Chinese still depend on it, and China has been running out of dollars as of late. From the Wall Street Journal, April 23, 2019, China's major commercial banks have a funding issue outside of Beijing's control. They're running low on U.S. dollars that they need for activities both at home and abroad. The combined dollar liabilities at the four big commercial banks exceeds their dollar assets. At least it did so at the end of 2018. Their annual results show a sharp reversal from just a few years ago. Back in 2013, the four together had $125 billion more dollar assets than liabilities. But now they owe more dollars to creditors than they have customers owing them. They're running out of dollars. What implication does that have? Well, the Wall Street Journal goes on and says the root of the problem is simple. Beijing would like to be a major financial player overseas, but few borrowers have any interest in the yuan. Most international trade is accounted for in dollars. The yuan is difficult to convert, and foreign owners of Chinese assets have at best an uncertain relationship with the country's legal system. So when you look at the chart in the journal, you see they're building up massive dollar reserves until the last couple of years. And since President Trump took office, they've started running out of dollars. To better understand this aspect, let's turn to another friend, Gordon Chang. Gordon and I testified together before Congress last year. It was a House committee, and Gordon shared a lot of thoughts, and I shared a lot of thoughts about Chinese economic warfare. Gordon's a columnist for the Daily Beast and a best-selling author. He lived and worked in China for 2 decades. He's one of the foremost and most respected China experts in America, and he stood alone at times, warning that we are propping up a troubled regime. Listen to Gordon. When you mention economic warfare, there's probably one nation on the planet that exemplifies it more than any other, and that is China, right?
Oh, well, certainly. You know, we talk about a trade war or economic war, but it's even more than that, Kevin, because in the middle of May, China's People's Daily, which is the most authoritative publication in China, said, look, we're in a people's war with the United States. In other words, they branded us an enemy. And when you're in people's war, it means they can do anything that they want. They'd be justified to do that. So clearly right now, we are in an existential struggle with the People's Republic. We Americans, of course, we don't pay attention to propaganda because, you know, we don't think it's important. But the Chinese are telegraphing their punches. They're telling us the way they feel about us, and we've got to act accordingly because we can no longer be oblivious.